Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kessie and today we are going to be doing a flip through of my currently journals, or what others would call month in review journals. I have this passion of recording or documenting things that I am watching, reading, and listening. It brings a lot of joy to my life. It's kind of like a time capsule of the things that I love. So here is the notebook that I use, and is an Archer and Olive notebook, B6 dotted. When I first bought this notebook, I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. So the first pages of the notebook, which I'm not going to show, are just scramblings and of the little things that I was trying to see what would stick. I started in September of 2022 thinking that I was going to use this notebook as a week in review notebook. And this is the first spread that I did back in September of 2022. The idea always was to use this notebook in a creative way. Nothing that would be too symmetrical. It was going to be something of kind of like scrapbooking, and that was the thing that I wanted to do page after page. Since the week in review did not work for me because I know myself, I decided to do a month in review. And this is where I was starting kind of to think about what style I wanted. First, I started with my month in review. Then I moved on to the pages in November for my reading tracker. And in my reading tracker for this time, I did kind of like rating for books. And then I did the two other pages for what I was currently watching. I realized that this was something that I wanted to do, but it was in December that things started to shape up in the way that I do my currently journals or my month in review. So December of 2022 was the one that set the mold for my other pages for my other month in reviews. I started with my reading tracker, then I had a view of what I was watching, and then I had my playlist, and lastly, I did one page of highlights for my month in review. So I knew that this is what I wanted to do. Since December's ended and I had more pages that I could use, what I did was I decided to continue and see where the year would take me. Ideally, I would have loved to start this in a new notebook, but I didn't want to waste the pages. So I just continue in this page. So December, I had to tell you, is one of my favorite months. I love the colors that I chose to do on the pages. I loved the design. Everything about it is just something that I really love. And you would see that this January setting, it was what I tried to do month after month. It was here in February that I decided, why not? I'm going to do a theme month after month, but it didn't stick because I found that it wasn't my thing. I know there are many people out there who are amazing designers, amazing at drawing, that do these bullet journals that are to die for. They're so beautiful. I know I don't have the bandwidth, the energy to do that. So I decided to go back to what felt comfortable with me, which is basically lines and this one doodle that I know that is a wannabe flower, but to me it looks like a plant or a leaf or whatever you want to call it. So I decided to stick to that. Then, when it came to April, I decided I'm going to do some stamping. And it was a little too chaotic for me. I love stamping, but I was still trying to look for my vibe. Still like my April look. I did good with the stamping, I think, but at the same time, it was just hard because I thought I was going back to that I'm going to do a theme every month. It didn't work out for me. I'm more of a colors person. I love to incorporate different colors and add it to my pages and see what happens. I love the scrapbooking look, and that's what I was going for these pages. So I continued to do my pages. I got to June and I continued to again do the same color scheme. I tried to incorporate more stickers like this circle stickers that I love, and doing different things like adding, for example, quotes of either songs or quotes of movies or documentaries, and I loved it. This is July, again, trying to do some of my doodles to see how they looked. And I just love how the pages turn out, even from the beginning since September of 2022 to now. I just love how the pages are different, but they look also the same. And I think it has to do with me sticking to my original thought of just drawing lines and not going overboard with things that don't feel good or comfortable to me. So this was the last page in this notebook, and then I moved on for the month of September into my new notebook. I wanted to keep with the same theme of the cover for 2023, and I did that. I tried to so you could see the difference between one page and the other. So I tried to use somewhat the same colors, but kind of follow that pattern so it could look like it was a continuation. So September was one of my favorites. I know January 2023 spreads were my favorite, but September also was a favorite of mine. I was feeling more comfortable with how I was doing my spreads and just adding the different elements like the post-its and the stickers and some doodles and some stamping. And I just felt that it was becoming more like me. I tried to add other things and add an extra page for my month in review, but then I realized that I didn't want to do that month after month because some things that happen in my personal life, like a month in review, are more personal. And for those personal things, I have my journal that I don't share on social media, and I just wanted to keep some things for myself. So I went back in October with my same things where I was tracking my books, what I was reading, what I was watching, and what I was listening to, and then sprinkled here and there with a few month in review, but more in a time capsule looking thing that it was just pictures of the month and then writing a little paragraph of what happened instead of going into a lot of detail. I am excited to put together my 2024 book. I am going to continue my 2024 journey on this notebook because I just love the size. I love how I'm doing things, and it just brings, like I said before, joy to me. It is something that I get to look back into and just see all the things that I was watching, listening, and reading, and it's just an amazing time capsule for me. So this is my flip through of my currently journal or my month in review or about last week's journal. I hope you have found some inspiration, and if you have, I hope that you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and watch me as I continue to create new things that bring joy to my life. I hope you can do the same because remember, it is never too late to create something new. So start today. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.